member was Prime Minister for about 25 times. He acted for 25 times until they took the government and gave his colleague. On top of that, he was the Minister of Finance, and he didn't find money to fix those pipes under the road. That wasn't about the 28th of April. As much as they are trying to zest here this award. Look at the award tonight. This is time just for Parrot and Dwayne, and look at it. Behaving like that. So Parrot and Dwayne,
She noted that despite the members' complaints, works have been ongoing collaboratively with the Water and Sewerage Authority.
I've been told there are 13 leaks there. Now, you will go out there and say it's 130. I don't know, but I'm playing no count with you this hour of the night. We have, yeah. 3 have been fixed so far. There, I think 7, we are working with WASA because they need to fix the leaks. No, we work very collaboratively with WASA. We do. We have to. You understand? Yeah, but no, it's about 7. No, it's about 8 leaks actually. And there's one that they have just completed, and we are waiting for it to settle. There's some kind of protocol where they have to wait a couple. No, they have to wait a couple of days because they'll see it. But again, relax yourself.
In other news, the Shipping Association of Trinidad and Tobago will launch its first ever Shipping and Logistics Conference, scheduled for March 26th and 27th at the Hyatt Regency, Trinidad. The event aims to highlight the critical role the shipping and logistics sector plays in national development and strengthening the country's trade competitiveness. General Manager of the Shipping Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Michelle Mulcahy, highlighted the critical role shipping plays in global trade and the local economy.
Every product we use, from food and medicine to technology and construction material, relies on efficient supply chains and maritime transport to reach our shores. In a small island economy such as ours, the reliability and efficiency of these systems are even more critical.
The 2-day conference will bring together international experts and local stakeholders to discuss key issues in the shipping and logistics sector. President of SATT, Troy Passard, said the event will not only address challenges, but also offer solutions to help industry leaders make better decisions and strengthen collaboration across the supply chain.
So we're going to share a lot of new information, analysis, and perspectives, which is very important. Discussing challenges, but also looking at solutions. And whatever we do in those first 2 points must improve decision-making in the industry. That is the intervention that we want.
In sport now, Bolivia defeated Trinidad and Tobago 3-0 in their international friendly in Santa Cruz, Bolivia on Sunday. The setback started early for Derek King's team when defender Ross Russell Jr. was cautioned in the 18th minute, and shortly after that, the hosts got their first goal in the 23rd minute, courtesy a Luis Jaquin header. Goal number 2 came in the 38th off the boot of Juan Godoy to give Bolivia a 2-0 halftime lead. 6 minutes into the second half, it was 3-0 with Fernando Nava setting for the South Americans. The ultra-defensive TNT unit struggled in attack with the opposing goalkeeper rarely trouble during the encounter. And that's what's making the news this morning. But joining us right now is Virmala Balkaran, host of Trinidad and Tobago Today. Good morning, Virmala.
Good morning, Carrie. Happy Monday. How are you today?
Happy Monday. Thank you very much. I'm good. I had a pretty cool weekend. What about you?
It was good, honestly, really good. Very short, but also it is a short week, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so we will make up for the lost weekend time, right?
Yes, well, not only is it a short week, but we are also, the home stretch of the holy month of Ramadan. So our Muslim brothers and sisters, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but across the world, will be preparing for Eid.
Yeah, that's right. And, so it's probably a time of excitement for some people. It's probably a solemn time as well as they wrap up Ramadan. But, of course, the celebration of Eid is upcoming, and I'm sure it's really something to look forward to.
Yeah, a lot of people are a little bit emotional because, it marks the end of that period of fasting. What are you looking forward to most about Eid this year?
Well, I'm not Muslim, but I do enjoy getting sawine.
Yeah. I love the fact that we live in such a beautiful melting pot of religions and cultures, and we get to celebrate with
Yeah,
our...
that's right. And we do so peacefully. And that is the key point here.
Yeah, everyone celebrates everything together, and that's such a beautiful thing. Well, actually, coming up inside the show today, we have Mufti Muhammad joining us to tell us about the end of this very powerful month of Ramadan for, again, Muslim brothers and sisters, and what it means for them and getting ready for Eid 2026.
All right, I'm looking forward to learn more.
All right, Carrie, talk soon.
We will. Thanks so much, Virmala.
You're welcome.
When we come back, the Trinidad and Tobago Today morning show gets going after this short break.
More news, more access, more ways to stay informed. TTT News covers the stories that matter on air and online. Join us nightly at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CATT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
Unleash your imagination with TTT's terrific Toon Time. Join us as we stop evil geniuses from taking over the world from Super Z. Or hop on board for a journey into outer space with Galaxy Kids. Be a part of our quest to save the forests alongside our robot pals from Bugs Bot Ignition. Or let's go exploring with Duda and Dada. Catch terrific Toon Time weekdays at 4:15 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. It's fun-filled adventure with terrific Toon Time right here on TTT.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exodus Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's Caribbean Passport TV on TTT.
Monday, 16th March 2026. The time now, it is 6:09 a.m. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago and the world. I'm Virmala Balkaran. Welcome to Trinidad and Tobago Today. Well, let's take a look now at what's trending this morning. Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa says Trinidad and Tobago's partnership with the New America's Anti-Cartel Coalition could significantly strengthen the country's fight against guns, drugs, and of course, organized crime. While speaking in Parliament, the Prime Minister said the alliance formed at the Shield of the Americas Summit in Florida will allow Trinidad and Tobago to work more closely with the United States and other regional partners to tackle transnational criminal networks. Well, she also explained that many of the gangs affecting the Caribbean are linked to larger international systems that move drugs through regional waters and send those illegal firearms and money back into local communities. Through the coalition, Trinidad and Tobago is expected to benefit from real-time intelligence sharing, even improved maritime surveillance, joint operations, and specialized training for local security forces. Well, the Prime Minister also stressed that despite the cooperation, Trinidad and Tobago's sovereignty will remain fully intact, noting that the country will maintain control over its own policies and security decisions. Also, during the visit, she held several high-level meetings with U.S. officials and regional leaders discussing security, trade, energy, and infrastructure investment opportunities for the country.
This coalition is a shield for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I repeat, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And so I take this opportunity today to extend my deep gratitude to President Trump for including TNT in this very historic coalition. And this coalition comprises nations across the hemisphere, not just here, across the Western Hemisphere. They include, of course, the host, the USA, of course, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Costa Rica, the Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras, Panama, and Paraguay. These were the ones who met as selected invitees to the summit held in Doral, Florida recently.
Well, in other news, Defense Minister Wayne Sturge sparked debate in Parliament by claiming that Senior Counsel Dana Setahal knew that there was a plot to kill her before she was murdered in 2014. Well, Sturge argued that authorities at the time had intelligence about threats against her, but relied mainly on surveillance instead of taking preventative action. And this discussion happened during debate on extending the state of emergency. Minister Sturge actually defended the use of emergency powers and preventative detention as necessary tools to stop violence before it occurs, and said that the government plans to reintroduce the Zone of Special Operations Bill, that's the ZOSO's bill, even without opposition support. Well, meanwhile, Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander says additional resources are expected to support the country's crime-fighting efforts. And the minister acknowledged that several security agencies are currently operating with limited staffing and equipment, and said that strengthening these areas is really key to improving enforcement. He also noted that once those resources are secured, the public should see a stronger and more effective response to crime. The minister also confirmed that foreign partners may be involved in providing support as the government continues working to improve national security operations. He was also speaking while addressing questions about the extension of the state of emergency, and added that the government remains committed to strengthening its anti-crime strategy and improving conditions in affected communities. Well, coming up inside the show today, a special tribute to media veteran Edison Carr. Also, we're getting ready for Eid al-Fitr 2026. There's some sport, diabetes awareness, and also dance sport. You know what to do. Grab your cup of coffee and settle in. Trinidad and Tobago Today has begun.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
I'm Renee Sion with another edition of Caribbean Week in Review.
Up for this exciting challenge and confident about your business? If you are, the 10-20 feature is just for you. It's where you give your customers 10 reasons in 20 seconds why they should shop by you. This fun-filled feature will be captured, packaged, and aired on television and promoted on social media simultaneously. Small, medium, and large businesses call or WhatsApp 764-3378 or 313-4215. Let's feature your business. 1020 with Junior K. It's affordable, effective, and fun.
This Ramadan, join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
As Ramadan enters its final stretch, Muslims around the world are focusing on what many consider the most sacred period of the holy month, the last 10 nights. Well, during this time, Muslims intensify their prayers, recite the Quran, give charity, and seek forgiveness, and prepare for Laylatul Qadr, or the night of power. While the Quran describes this night as better than 1,000 months, making it one of the most spiritually significant moments in the Islamic calendar. Well, this morning we're joined by Mufti Muhammad Zaidur Raza Al-Azhari, spiritual guide of the Astra Ulama Council, to talk about the significance of these final days of Ramadan and how Muslims can prepare for Eid and the importance of the night of power. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much.
Well, we're entering the final week of Ramadan, and I would like you to tell our viewers this morning, why are the last few days considered the most spiritually significant period of this month?
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala, amma ba'd. Thank you very much for your kind consideration and your good question. That actually the last few days of this blessed month are very important in terms that our beloved Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us that the night of power, the night of Qadr, that is called Laylatul Qadr, that we should search in the last 10 nights, and that is one of the 5 odd nights of these 10 nights. So in search of that particular night of power, people exert extra efforts to attain that special blessing that has been mentioned in the glorious Quran, that khayrum min alfi shahr, that the night of power is better in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of rewards and blessings and virtues, than better than 1,000 months. So specifically, to attain that particular night, the Muslims around the world follow the sunnah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he used to do the same. And at the last 10 nights, every year he used to sit in Itikaf, and he used to search for that particular night of Qadr, so that he will not miss it.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about Itikaf and where Muslims spend the last few days in seclusion?
Yes. So Itikaf, actually, a person, especially male Muslims, sits in their masajids, in their mosques, and they decorate a special place, and they make it at the corner of a mosque, like to sit last 10 days. That is called Sunnah Itikaf. And also the other people, like they can sit in nafal and voluntary itikaf, that any period of time, not especially they have to sit for 10 days and 10 nights, rather they can sit one day or one night. And that is sunnah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he used to practice this itikaf, that's seclusion, that for every year in the month of Ramadan. And specifically, this action is so important that when a person sits in itikaf, he cuts off from the ties and from other activities of their daily routines outside of the mosque, and they connect with Allah Almighty, and they devout, and they delve into the zikr of Allah, into the mediation and meditation, and also they think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they do extra effort, they do extra acts of worship, and they get opportunity to attain the night of power. So female force of females of Muslims, and they can sit in itikaf at their homes, but males have to sit in masjid, and they spend completely 10 days until the moon of the Shawwal, that is called according to lunar calendar, or the moon of Eid be sighted, the crescent should be sighted, then they can come out from the mosque. So that actually, that period they spend in the mosque, in itikaf, the special bond and special ties they build up with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is very spiritual moments they spend, and they get a special time to think, and they ponder over their relations with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Well, as Eid approaches, I know there's also an emphasis on Zakat. Could you explain what this is for those who may not understand? Who gives it? Who receives it?
Okay. There's a hadith of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in terms of Zakatul Fitr, that is called Sadaqatul Fitr as well. And the Sadaqatul Fitr is actually, that becomes like expiation for the shortcomings and mistakes and defects can be created by our tongues while we are keeping fast, or by our some kind of actions. So our fasts are not accepted until we pay this Sadaqatul Fitr. That Sadaqatul Fitr, like a person, every household of the Muslim person that have to give that charity. And this year, like $20 per person, per head, every Muslim have to do in Trinidad and Tobago. And means like feeding a person 2 meals a day. And that has been described by our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the staple food. So every Muslim must do that. And those people who are recipients of zakat, recipients like needy people, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it compulsory upon those people who can afford, so that those people who are less fortunate, they will be able to celebrate their Eids, and they will enjoy their times of happiness same way as the rich people do with their foods and with their clothes and with their other preparations, inshallah.
There's also a well-known supplication asking for forgiveness that is often recited during these nights, I understand. Can you share that dua and explain its significance for us this morning?
Yes. So, yes, there is a dua in hadith been mentioned. Our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has advised that whenever we attain the night of power, the Laylatul Qadr, we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his forgiveness. And this dua in the words of hadith, it says, Allahumma innaka afoon tuhibbul afwa fa'afu anni. O Allah, O Allah Almighty, innaka afoon, verily you are of forgiving. Tuhibbul afwa, and you love to forgive. Fa'afu anni, you forgive me. So, in fact, that if we attain that night of Qadr, fortunately, we, by the grace of God Almighty, we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his forgiveness, so that if we are forgiven, indeed, we will be attaining the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will be attaining the full rewards of that night of Qadr that is better than 1,000 months in the sight of Allah Almighty.
I know we are preparing to end the holy month of Ramadan, and as the month is coming to an end, families are preparing for Eid. How can Muslims balance the celebrations while still maintaining that spiritual focus on the actual last few days of Ramadan?
Yes, a good question. That's actually the Muslims, while they are preparing for the Eidul Fitr, in fact, that same time they keep fast, and also they do extra acts of ibadat and worship in the night. They stand up in their mosque and they perform extra salah that is called Tarawih. And also, same time they are preparing for the Eidul Fitr in terms of going to market. They try to manage their times. Yes, this is a little hectic, but there's for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whole month they have worked to please Allah Almighty. And that's the end, that's the time to attain rewards and sawab. So they get their time, they make up their time to go to the market, and they prepare, they clean their houses, they get new dresses, and their wines, especially like nice Eid, especially when they have to celebrate, when they have to invite friends and families, they get together. So they clean the mosque and they prepare for those people who will come to perform Salatul Eid. So yes, it is little difficult, but they try to manage, and they make up their times, and the extra hours they have to work a little bit to make it happen, inshallah.
My final question for you this morning: what message would you like to leave with the viewers about making the most of the remaining days of Ramadan?
I would like to say to the viewers that Ramadan is the beautiful and blessed month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon his servants. So whatever days has been remained, we should do as much as possible good deeds and good actions. We should extend the hands of charity and sadaqah, and we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness. And we must make our tawbah and sincerity and determination to spend our days and nights in the rest of the year same way as we do in the month of Ramadan. And we mustn't forget that Ramadan is the institution to train us to attain piety and taqwa and righteousness and God's consciousness. So when we attain that, when we are trained, we should spend our days and nights, even after the month of Ramadan, in the same manner, so that we will be successful in this dunya and in the akhirah. So Ramadan taught us that how to care for those who are less fortunate, who are needy, and how to cater for them, how to extend the hands of generosity and kindness. And also, Ramadan taught us how to control our tongue, our thoughts, and our desires. That even though we have everything, but still, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we can't practice, if we can't stop doing wrong things in the month of Ramadan, indeed, we can do so after the month of Ramadan. So this is a beautiful opportunity and blessed opportunity for us to train properly. And also, in the last days of the month of Ramadan, we should rigorously, delve into the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by asking his forgiveness and by asking his mercy and by asking his special blessings and favor upon us, so that we will be on a straight path and we will be successful and we attain the actual purpose and objective of fastings, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Mufti. We hope that you have a beautiful, blessed, and holy remainder of Ramadan. And we're looking forward to a great Eid for you as well in a few days.
Thank you. Same wishes I express for my viewers and also for the crews of your TTT Limited. May God bless TTT Limited and the special host and all those who are viewing us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. May Allah bless these beautiful twin islands, Trinidad and Tobago, with prosperity, blessings, and mercy, safety, and protection. And may God bless this government to do more and more good for the dwellers of these countries, for the citizens of these countries, for the guests of these countries. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless each and every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, there we have it. The preparation for Eid 2026, Lailatul Qadr as well, and what it means for the Muslim community and everyone observing Ramadan this year. Well, when we come back, we speak with Lawrence Arjun a little bit about everything trending with that Judith Jones investigation and so much more on Trinidad and Tobago Today.
City 91.1. Thought-provoking conversations, bold perspectives, voices you trust. Talk City 91.1. Bigger, bolder, and more powerful than ever before.
Yes, Talk City 91.1 FM.
A brand new era of talk radio is here. With voices you know, trust, and respect. Get ready for an all-new lineup of the very best in talk. Andy Williams, Rennick Smith, Stephen Reese, Mr. X, Derek Charbodi, Roland Stewart, Sharon Farfan, Sudath Prasad, Heavy Duty, Alex Asing, Karen Francisco, Cherry-Leen Lewis, Short Pants, and more of the voices shaping the national conversation. From hard-hitting current affairs to real community issues, culture, politics, social development, and the stories that matter most to you. This is where Trinidad and Tobago comes to talk.
So I'll go right to on Talk City 91.1, where we're going to give you something new, something hot every day, Monday to Friday.
Listen on 91.1 FM and connect on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Talk City 91.1. Your city, your voice.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other. And they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you know, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation, right? And not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
Social Development and Family Services Vandana Mohit said the Children's Authority is grappling with liabilities estimated at approximately $77 million, with some debts dating as far back as 2020. The minister said the situation points to prolonged financial mismanagement.
And it is against this backdrop that today I call for the immediate resignation of the current board of the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. The circumstances that have unfolded under the stewardship of this board are deeply troubling and cannot be ignored.
Minister Mohit revealed that millions of dollars are owed to suppliers providing essential services, including security and janitorial support. She added that staff gratuity payments and employee health insurance are also among the outstanding obligations.
You have the gratuity payments, 8 million plus. Staff health insurance, and our staff work very hard. And I know many of our staff at the Children's Authority, they have been awaiting me to speak. They want to know what's happening with their health insurance and their gratuity payments.
The minister also raised concerns about what she described as frivolous spending, despite the authority's financial challenges.
Why is the Children's Authority purchasing an ice maker in the sum of $343,000? When we came into office, we were faced with issues where some of our centers had no food.
The minister also raised alarm over statutory deductions taken from employees that were reportedly not remitted to the Board of Inland Revenue and the National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago. She said this could expose the authority and the state to potential legal consequences.
Statutory deductions, inland revenue, there are penalties for that when you deduct but you don't pay it again. Millions. 6, as at September 2025, 6 million plus.
Minister Mohit reassured that the government remains committed to strengthening the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago, adding that the protection of the country's most vulnerable children must remain a national priority. Daniel John, TTT News.
Well, now we turn our attention to the governance of the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago following those recent public statements that we just heard by the Minister of the People, Social Development and Family Services, who pretty much called for the immediate resignation of the authority's board and cited serious concerns about financial management, statutory payments, and, of course, oversight. Well, the minister's remarks come amid reported liabilities amounting to over $77 million and allegations of structural and operational challenges within the institution. And at the center of this discussion is the independent investigation report into the authority, which basically examined the structure and functions of the Board of Management. Well, this report highlighted concerns about the board's involvement in operational matters, including approval processes, and recommended clearer separation between oversight responsibilities and day-to-day management. It also proposed broader governance reforms, including restructuring licensing functions and strengthening institutional accountability. Well, one of the members of that investigation team was Lawrence Arjun, Chief Executive Officer of the Heroes Foundation and a representative of the NGO sector. We now welcome him via Zoom this morning to help us better understand the findings of this report, the recommendations made, and of course, what governance reforms may be necessary to strengthen the Children's Authority moving forward. Good morning, Lawrence.
Good morning, Virmala, and thank you very much for having me on this morning to talk about what I think is still a very relevant and important document in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, a lot of serious statements coming out of the minister, and we just saw that before we began. Firstly, before we go into anything else, can you give us a short synopsis of the Jones report for those who may be unfamiliar, and what impact has it had, in your opinion?
Sure. I mean, so the report was titled Safeguarding Children in Community Residences and the Child Support Centers in Trinidad and Tobago. And the name of the report was very purposeful because the entire investigation team believed that this should be present and this should be very clear that this is the purpose of what the whole care and protection system is all about. So the Jones report, as we've come to call it, it really was an independent investigation, as you've said, into the safeguarding conditions within children's homes, community residences, child support centers. So it looked at the entire protection system and the functions of it, particularly the role of the Children's Authority in the care and protection system. And I mean, some of the things that the report highlighted were, one, the structural pressures within the Children's Authority, including the challenge with its mandate of simultaneously providing care services while regulating facilities in which children are placed in. It also looked at some of the broader governance challenges, the broader operational issues, the broader coordination issues across the state in providing care and protection. Now, after this investigation team, there was a task force that was put in place to look at how do you operationalize the recommendations. And some of those things were actually put in place and implemented by the cabinet, by the government, by the state at that time. One was an interagency coordinating committee that was supposed to be made up of all of these stakeholders to kind of guide how care and protection is managed across the state. One of the recommendations in that from the task force was that they have civil society, NGO, or representatives from the community residences, the children's homes, as a part of that coordinating committee. That was not done. It was kept as a state committee. We need to find out what has happened to that committee and if that committee is still up and running. Another good thing that has come out from that investigation and the task force is the National Interagency Protocol for Childcare, for child abuse prevention and management, which is essentially the state mapping out all of the players involved and what happens when a child comes in at a particular point to get help, and what are the other state agencies that are involved or need to be involved, and what are their role and what are their function, what are their responsibilities in providing care and protection for the children.
So, in light of all of this, Lawrence, when you heard the minister call for the resignation of the board of the Children's Authority, were you surprised?
I mean, firstly, let me say that the Children's Authority is definitely one of the most critical and important state entities that we have today. But as the report says, as many people have said over the years, it faces significant challenges, such as, it's carrying too much functions, it has resource, it has staffing constraints. So that being said, I really was surprised that the minister raised such a matter in the public, because it says that there is, or there has been, some sort of breakdown in the reporting and the engagement mechanisms within the authority, the board, and the ministry. Now, the Children's Authority Act, which is the regulation that guides the operations of the authority, outlines that the director and the staff of the authority report to the Board of Management, and the Board of Management reports to the minister with responsibility for the Children's Authority, and the minister in turn reports to Parliament. But I think having seen that the minister and the board are now engaged through the media in this conversation. It is a little bit concerning, but I think it's now left to be seen what is told and what is shared in the public domain, because I think, as with everyone else, we are all looking on to see how this unfolds, but most importantly, to see how the interests of the children to whom the authority has responsibility to provide care and protection for is prioritized, which to me really is the biggest concern, which is also tied into the findings and the recommendations. So if the board should resign immediately and there is not an immediate replacement for the board, then that creates a gap with some of the key operations of the organization. Because you see, Virmala, the board of management of the Children's Authority is not just a strategic oversight board in the way that people typically think of a board in a company in the state. Under the Children's Authority Act, the board actually has both governance and operational responsibilities, which the investigation team saw as part of the challenge. On the governance side, the board is supposed to set the strategic direction of the authority, oversee the performance, report to the minister, keep the things going. But on the operational side, it also has a lot of responsibilities when it comes to the work, such as, decisions related to the care and the placement of children, things like care plans, treatment plans, rehabilitation planning, approval of the placement of children, whether they're in community residences or in foster care. So it's a lot of responsibilities that is being placed on the board, which creates some challenges, because the board now is not only responsible for policy and oversight, it's also connected to the operational processes of the child protection system. So you could have situations arising where there is challenges with what the board can keep up with, what the organization itself can keep up with.
Yeah. Lawrence, now that the board has been asked to resign, what principles do you think should guide the formation of a new board to ensure that, there's stability and public confidence, and what safeguards do you think should be put in place to prevent a repeat of everything that has happened?
I definitely think that we should be looking at what is the role and function of the organization and what is the role and function of the board. Do we want a board that provides governance and oversight of the work that is happening? Do we want a team, a committee, a structure within the organization that supports the operational function with the placements and these sorts of things? Should these roles be management functions and you hire out the right resources in the organization to manage this on a full-time basis, not just a part-time basis, because the board is not a full-time entity? But do we look at the structures there? Do we also look at the role of the Children's Commissioner? Now, that's another important finding and recommendation from the Judy Jones report that is also in the National Child Policy for 2020 to 2030. So the idea of the Children's Commissioner is to have this independent entity that reports into the Parliament, not necessarily to a ministry, that is supposed to sort of oversee and provide this oversight on care and protection, not just the Children's Authority, but the entire care and protection system and everything related to children in the country. And one of the recommendations was that the monitoring and the licensing of children's homes be moved out from the Children's Authority and be placed with this Children's Commissioner. Because see, the challenge that exists right now is that the Children's Authority is responsible for the placement of children and the staffing of some of these homes through the Service Commission. But they're also responsible for licensing and for monitoring and for evaluating how it is. So it's an entity that is also monitoring and evaluating itself. It is a lot of responsibility, but it's also a conflict. So moving that out into something like the Children's Commissioner allows the Children's Authority to focus more heavily on the work that they have to do and have the regulation, have the monitoring in a separate entity. So I think we need to look, the Children's Authority is very much needed. The ideas of what the authority could have done when it was conceptualized, I think are very important. But as we've learned along the way, since it's been operating, it's not been doing it as effectively as it could if we look at restructuring, rechanging how we manage the whole childcare and protection system as a country, not just as the Children's Authority.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. A great way to wrap up this morning. And obviously, this is something we'll be following closely. And we thank you so much for your input.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Lawrence, have a great day. Just about 10 minutes before 7 o'clock, that was Lawrence Arjun, just speaking about everything happening this weekend coming out of the minister's statement, and definitely something that we'll continue to follow via TTT online. When we come back, a special tribute to Edison Carr.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exodus Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's Caribbean Passport TV on TTT.
The Mother Church of the Anglican Diocese suffered significant damage during the earthquake of 2018. Efforts are underway to raise funds to restore this national heritage site. You are invited to make your donations with monthly deposits at any branch of the First Citizens Bank, account number 2696950, Marval Road Branch, in the name of the Incorporated Trustees of the Anglican Holy Trinity Cathedral Restoration.
TTT News, every night at 7. TTT News, committed, accurate, relevant.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CATT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
That time of the year again, my friends. Feel it in the air. Football, football, football. It's back. Everyone's locked in. This is Richard Torpedo Thompson, and my Trinidad and Tobago people. I'll stay this straight. Fans make the game. Cheers, chants, passion. That's the heartbeat of football. There's only one 12th man that really brings the energy. That's Andre Errol Batiste on TTT. Every Thursday on TTT. Don't miss it.
weekend, we learned of the passing of Edison Carr, a true journalist and, of course, a true gentleman. And this morning, we have a special guest joining us via phone in our tribute to Edison Carr. Francesca Hawkins, veteran broadcast and communication specialist in Trinidad and Tobago. Definitely no stranger to the airwaves and, of course, to television. Good morning, Francesca, and welcome.
Thank you, Virmala, and good morning to all of your viewers this Monday morning.
Well, you spent many years in broadcasting yourself. What was your reaction when you heard about the passing of Mr. Edison Carr?
Truthfully, we knew Edison had been ailing for some time. So on one hand, it was a relief to know that he would be relieved of all of his physical and mental difficulties getting older. But of course, it is quite touching that there have been so many tributes coming in from all corners of TNT to him as a broadcaster, especially as he was such a modest man. I think he would have been more surprised than anyone because he had lived in relative obscurity and, as I said, a very modest man about his talent and his reputation.
So for the younger viewers who may not know of his work, can you, or how would you describe the kind of broadcaster that he was and what made him stand out in the industry?
I think he epitomized a kind of broadcasting quality that obtained generally across the board in both radio and television during the 80s, the 90s, and of course, ongoing towards the end of his career and through the 2000s, which is a person of talent, intelligence, passion, and an enduring commitment to excellence. So he came from a time when I would say auditions were incredibly rigorous, and it was necessary to pass that test with a great voice and all the qualities I just mentioned: intelligence, great knowledge of the community, of the society, a passion for culture, an understanding of news and journalism. It was essential at the time to be really an all-rounder. So even somebody who might have been, let's say, a DJ would also know how to read the news, or someone like Edison, who spent a great deal of time in the radio newsroom, also could be put on air and host the music program, shifting gears seamlessly from one to the next.
Yeah. So he was also among those who were held hostage during the coup attempt. How significant was that moment for the media fraternity in Trinidad and Tobago, and what impact do you think his role during that time had on public trust in broadcasting?
Well, public trust was very central to the role of the broadcaster, radio or television or print. The credibility of the institution was paramount, and in that way, people who worked on air were very much part of that aspect of integrity that is required to build public trust. But Edison, like many, or just about everybody at TTT and Radio Trinidad who were held, and at 610 Radio at the time, were generally speaking very modest people. And that is why many, like Edison, quietly went on with their lives and carried the psychological blues, the depression, PTSD, and all the effects that we now understand could come about after a period of an experience of extreme trauma. And there are many silent heroes like Edison who went about their lives with little noise but carried the wounds of the experience.
All right, Francesca, we're going to ask you to stay with us just a little longer. When we come back after the news, we continue our tribute to Edison Carr. Thank you for joining us so far this morning, but we'll hear more from Francesca in a short bit. Carrie is up next with the major network news at 7 a.m. Stick around. Trinidad and Tobago Today continues.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. Police carried out an exercise in which 10 people were arrested on Sunday morning. The exercise took place along Park Street between midnight and 6 a.m., targeting motorists suspected of driving under the influence of alcohol. Police say the 10 individuals arrested include a salesman from Arima, a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard from Diego Martin, a company director from Woodbrook, and several other motorists from communities, including San Juan, Laventil, Guapo, Dabadi, Tacarigua, and St. James. One of the drivers was also charged with driving without a permit and without a certificate of insurance. During the operation, officers also stopped and searched 39 vehicles and their occupants in an effort to detect illegal firearms and ammunition, but no illegal items were found. The exercise involved officers from several Port of Spain policing units. The TTPS is again reminding motorists to avoid drinking and driving and to obey all road traffic laws to ensure the safety of all road users. In other news, the Central Statistical Office has released the Consumer Price Index for February 2026. The annual inflation rate for February stood at 0.6%, a slight decrease from 0.7% in January 2026. This marks a decrease from the previous year's inflation rate of 0.7% for the same period. The All Items Index for February 2026 remained stable at 125.8, unchanged from January. The Food and Non-Alcoholic Beverages Index saw a modest increase of 0.1%, driven by rising prices in items like Irish potatoes, fresh carrot, and soft drinks. However, this was offset by price reductions in tomatoes, fresh chickens, and other produce. The February report also showed a small decrease in sub-indices for alcoholic beverages and tobacco by 0.2% and health by 0.1%. Other categories remained stable during the period. In more news, according to Minister of Health Dr. Lakram Bodo, the Children's Hospital is being brought fully on stream through a phased rollout of key medical services. He said this approach is already helping to ease pressure on the public health system by reducing long surgical waiting lists for children. He emphasized services are gradually expanding months after the rededication of the facility by Prime Minister Kamal Prasad Bisesa. Minister of Health Dr. Lakram Bodo said when the government took office last year, they found significant amounts of unused and non-functional medical equipment at the Couva Children's Hospital.
217 pieces that were never used, a value of some $20,685,125. So that is equipment that would have been parked up at the Couva Hospital for some 10 years and was never used.
Despite those challenges, the minister said work has been ongoing to repair and recommission equipment while gradually activating services at the hospital.
Some 545 successful surgeries have been completed at the Couva Hospital. Now, what we had to be careful about in doing surgeries at the hospital is we met a facility that was 10 years old, and therefore we had to be careful that we roll this out in a phased manner.
Dr. Bodo indicated that 361 children have received services at the pediatric specialist outpatient clinics. In more news, the Tobago House of Assembly is moving to formalize the way sporting bodies receive funding for activities. At a media conference on Sunday, the Secretary for Youth Empowerment and Sport, Keegan Denoon, said this process will begin almost immediately and is calling on sporting bodies to get their house in order.
We are implementing strict guidelines as to how you can access governmental funding. Organizations would now have to be registered, have their NGO certificate. They would also have to have audited financials, and they would also have to bring the receipts to show that the monies were utilized for the purpose for which they were applied.
Sporting organizations are being asked to apply at least 3 months in advance of their activity in order to be guaranteed funding, consideration and approval. And that was your TDT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. After the break, we start hour number 2 of Trinidad and Tobago Today.
Attention viewers in Trinidad and Tobago. The Truth of God now airs on the TTT network every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You won't want to miss the dynamic preaching of Pastor Jennings as he speaks from God's Holy Bible. The Truth of God, Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. on the TTT network.
The game
games are coming. The games are coming. Don't miss the Southern Games at Skinner Park in San Fernando. Come out and support our top athletes and cyclists. On Saturday the 21st of March, athletics heats begin at 9:30 a.m. And on Sunday the 22nd of March, athletics and cycling from 1:30 p.m. Bring out the entire family. Admission is $60. Children under 14 you pay $20, and children under 5 you are free. Get tickets at Ateliers by the Park and Wadi's Hardware in Marabella. Attractive door prizes to be won. For further information, you can call 368-5649 or 778-3274. The games are coming. The games are coming. Southern Games, it's on.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
Unleash your imagination with TTT's Terrific Toon Time. Join us as we stop evil geniuses from taking over the world on Super Z, or hop on board for a journey into outer space with Galaxy Kids. Be a part of our quest to save the forest alongside our robot pals from Bugspot Ignition. Or let's go exploring with Duda and Dada. It's fun-filled adventure with Terrific Toon Time right here on TTT.
Well, continuing our tribute to Edison Carr this morning, we have staying with us on the phone, Francesca Hawkins. Welcome back, Francesca.
Thank you, Virmala. And again, good morning to viewers just joining you after the news.
So, Edison was widely regarded as a mentor and also a media trainer. You know, walking throughout the building in TTT, you would even hear a lot of people would have interacted with him and learned from him. How important was that role in shaping the younger journalists?
Well, it suffice to say that whoever Edison would have come into contact with would have received a great imprint from him of his standards, his talents, and it would have been a second career for him after retirement, or should I say in the latter part of his life when he would have slowed down from live broadcasting. But I think it's important to mention that radio in Trinidad began with a company called Rediffusion in about 1947, British company. Same thing with the precursor companies to 610 and 100 FM. That is to say that the system out of which talent like Edison's came didn't fall from the sky. These were very prescribed standards that were internationally accepted and applied. That is to say, the quality of on-air performance, the raw talent to work with. And so this is how what's often referred to as the golden era of radio and television was founded. That is to say, although broadcasting and communications, many platforms have changed, including the digital platform, but the rules of broadcasting began a long time ago, and in many respects, they still apply. And those were the standards which Edison would have embodied.
Francesca, when we talk about his legacy today, what do you believe should be remembered most, and how should the next generation of journalists, presenters, broadcasters all learn from the example that he has set and left for us?
Well, it's an example of excellence, an example of ensuring that your general knowledge, your knowledge of current affairs, knowledge of world affairs is very sound, and that the quality of work is of the highest standard. And I think these qualities apply no matter the changes in the information space and broadcasting and news and all the attendant expressions of what is today a very complex media space. Yeah. And of course, importantly, just a very beautiful human being, modest and kind, sincere and true.
Thank you very, very much, Francesca, for joining us this morning and weighing in on the legacy of Edison
My
Carr.
pleasure.
I hope you have a beautiful day, Francesca.
You too. Thanks so much. Bye.
All right. Take care. Remembering Edison Carr this morning on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Well, as a former radio broadcaster myself and just spending so many years in media, Edison Carr was definitely one of those great lessons or teachers in media. And for years, he was heard on the airwaves at Radio Trinidad, delivering the news calmly and steadily. His voice was clear and absolutely reassuring, and listeners came to trust the way that he told the nation's stories. Well, he was also among those held hostage at the TTT building on Marvel Road here during the events of July 27th, 1990. And in those tense hours, he was one of the voices that reached citizens across the country as people really tried to understand what exactly was unfolding. And those who knew him remember a man of warmth, humility, and deep professionalism. In a fast-paced and often demanding industry, Edison Carr carried himself with grace. He treated his colleagues with respect and approached his work with care and seriousness. In later years, he devoted his time to training and mentoring young journalists, and he strongly believed in the craft of broadcasting and often encouraged citizens and students to use their words in a way that allowed audiences to clearly picture what was happening. Many of the voices in the media today all benefited from his guidance and patience. Edison Carr's passing is truly being felt throughout the media community. His voice helped to tell the nation's story for many years, and the knowledge he shared helped to shape those who continue that work today. He was a teacher, a mentor, a gentleman of the media, and he will be deeply missed. Well, this morning we have a tribute coming in from media personality on the passing of Edison Carr.
Well, Edison Carr, he was a person who, he was my first teacher in terms of broadcasting, and he was a lot of people's teacher. Anybody who, I can guarantee you, anybody who was of any ilk in the media industry, especially radio, would have passed through Edison Carr, or would have wished that they would have passed through Edison Carr. And I always remember when he brought us into the savannah, right opposite his home, and he told us, you have a minute to describe anything around here, and most people couldn't make it past 10 seconds. And he stood there for at least 2 to 3 minutes, and he described everything, and we were in awe of Edison Carr. He was someone who could describe anything at length and perfect detail. And, he did a lot for the media industry. He has a lot of students, and we would like him to rest in eternal peace and rest safely, knowing that his legacy will live on forever and ever. May his soul rest in eternal peace. He's one of my greatest heroes, Mr. Edison Carr.
Thank you so much, Blaze, for that beautiful tribute, remembering Edison Carr this morning on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Well, remember, for all the stories that you've seen here and more, you can check us out at TTT Live online. If you have a story idea, a press release, you want to collab or maybe advertise with us, simply email us at tttoday@ttt.co.tt, and you can be a part of a conversation that's shaping our nation. Well, when we come back, the show continues on Trinidad and Tobago Today, Monday, 16th March. Hope it's been a great start to your morning.
Introducing the new Sun Mix Nut Bar. Available in 3 delicious flavors: granola raisin nut, almond cranberry crunch, and coconut almond crisp. All packed on a rich bed of dark chocolate.
Taste the good life, snack right. Taste the good life anytime. Good life, good life. Sun Mix.
Sunshine Snacks Sun Mix Nut Bar. Taste the good life.
Every client deserves expertise, integrity, and guidance they can trust. At Camino Realty International, we deliver integrated real estate solutions, sales, rentals, property management, and project development. Driven by excellence, transparency, and innovation, we protect value, create opportunity, and build lasting success. Because real estate isn't just about buildings. For more information on our services, log on to CaminoRealty.com or follow us on social media at Camino Realty TT. Camino Realty International, elevating lives one property at a time.
This Ramadan, join me, Sherilyn Lewis, for Ramadan Reflections, a weekly television series exploring meaningful conversations on fasting and the significance of the holy month. Airing every Tuesday at 8:05 p.m. on TTT, beginning Tuesday 24th February, we delve into real, relatable topics that inspire spiritual growth, discipline, and understanding during Ramadan. Let's reflect, learn, and grow together this blessed month.
Up for this exciting challenge and confident about your business? If you are, the 10-20 feature is just what we need. It's where you give your customers 10 reasons in 20 seconds why they should shop by you. This fun-filled feature will be captured, packaged, and aired on television and promoted on social media simultaneously. Small, medium, and large businesses call or WhatsApp 764-3378 or 313-4215. Let's feature your business. 1020 with Junior K. It's affordable, effective, and fun.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
Living with a chronic illness can be a life-changing experience, especially for young people. But for some, those challenges become a source of strength, purpose, and advocacy. Well, our guest this morning in studio knows that journey firsthand. Cristiano Mejias, known to many as Chris, is a young Trinidadian entrepreneur and type 1 diabetes advocate who has been using his personal story to encourage and support others facing the same condition. Now, diagnosed at a young age, Chris has had to navigate the daily realities of living with type 1 diabetes while still pursuing his ambitions, including launching his own clothing brand and raising awareness about this condition among young people. His advocacy and determination have even gained international recognition with features in magazines abroad and an invitation to speak at the Republic Day Awards, the President's Republic Day Awards ceremony. Well, this morning he's joining us to share what life with type 1 diabetes really looks like, the challenges many young people face after diagnosis, and why he believes awareness, education, and support can really truly make a life-changing difference. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for reaching out to me, expressing interest to be here, because it's really important that people, especially young people, hear from you and your perspective. And a lot of people are facing the same thing, and sometimes silently as well. So take me back to the beginning. How old were you when you were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes? What was that moment like for you?
When I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I was 12 years old. And at first, my family and I, we didn't really know much about the condition. So it was new to us, but with advice from my healthcare and doctors, we learned that it requires a lot of structure and discipline, and together we faced it.
Yeah, that's really something. So did you have family members around you who were also diabetic, or this was just something so shocking to everyone?
It was shocking because no one around us was type 1 diabetic.
Wow. So for viewers who may not fully understand, what exactly is type 1 diabetes, and what does life look like, daily life look like when you have type 1 diabetes or living with it?
Well, type 1 diabetes is when the pancreas does not produce insulin to manage your blood sugar levels. For me, it requires a lot of structure, managing my blood sugar, managing my insulin levels, seeing how active I am during the day. But as life goes by, it has become part of my routine, and I have gotten very used to it.
Well, Chris, I know, just going back to that moment when you were diagnosed, that is an emotional experience, and that is something that can really put you down for a little bit, and it gets to a point where, you know, you really have to get up and dust off yourself and say, okay, well, I have to live with this. Did you go through that period of emotion? Your family was very supportive as well.
As a younger teen, my early teen years, it was hard because I felt different from my peers at school, and I wouldn't know how to manage it in a social setting. But as I said, with my family's support, I kind of got over it, in the sense that this is something that I have to live with now, and it's better that I turn it into a positive rather than negative. So eating healthier, exercising more often. I mean, it's things that people should be doing on a regular. So in a sense, it was like a blessing. So I have gotten used to it, and it's now part of my life.
And you've turned all of this into advocacy. So you've stepped out and you've decided to educate other people and young people as well. Tell me about that.
I said that I would start to speak out because I would keep it a secret from my friends or people that I've just met. And I think that newly diagnosed persons especially, they would keep it a secret and they would feel alone. But I just want them to know that this is not a determining factor on something to keep you back in life. You can continue to do all the things that you want in life. You just have to have the discipline and the responsibility that I have learned.
So I heard that you're launching or launched a clothing brand.
Launching, yes.
Okay. So how did that come about?
Well, entrepreneurship really became a part of my journey as my desire for something independent for myself. But with the discipline and responsibility I've learned with diabetes, it kind of merges into entrepreneurship. And in 2020, I was like, okay, I need to do something for myself. I ordered a few phone cases online, and I decided to sell them, and they sold really quickly. And after that, that drive never stopped, and I continued from there going.
How old are you?
I'm 19 years old.
19 years old. And you were also internationally recognized. Yes. And you were invited to speak at the Republic Day Awards ceremony. Yes. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was last year.
Oh, last year's, not this. Okay.
Not this, yeah.
And how was that experience?
That was good. That was good. I think being recognized by other people other than inside of my circle was a really humbling moment, because it's like being recognized by so much other people. And as I said, it was humbling and it was a great experience.
So what's in the cards for you? What's in the future for your advocacy work? Where do you want to take all of this?
As of right now, I'm learning that the association has wanted to reach out to me.
Yeah.
I do intend to use my social media platform to keep advocating and keep letting persons who have diabetes or who wouldn't even have it, and educate them on how it can be prevented, how it can be treated, and share my experiences.
Yeah, as a champion of the Diabetes Association, I think I speak on behalf of the president, Dr. Andrew Danu, and tell you that we would really like to have you involved in everything that's happening. And you're such a great spokesperson on your own for diabetes and diabetes awareness. And that's definitely something that we need to continue in Trinidad and Tobago. So there are lots of young people probably going through the same thing, and maybe a little bit scared, families who may be unsure of how exactly are we going to deal with all of this. You know, your young son or daughter was just diagnosed with that. Actually, Chris, when you get involved with the association, you'll see there is actually a camp for kids, and I mean the tiniest, the smallest, and they are running around so happy and looking healthy and full of life, but they're also living with diabetes. So families have a tremendous job as well to support these children, and it's really heartwarming to see all of that. So for families of younger children or teenagers who may be just dealing with the diagnosis, what would you say to them to keep them pushing forward?
I would tell them that their life is not over. This condition does not stop you. It does not put you down. I still say to myself that in the beginning, I thought that it was the end of the world. I thought that I had no chance of doing anything. But now that I've turned it into something positive, I just want other people out there to know that it is not the end. You can still achieve so many things in life. Yeah.
And as an advocate, have you met many like-minded people or anyone living with type 1 as well throughout this journey?
I have. And when I went to a clinic, I met so many younger persons my age who had type 1, and it was reassuring to see that other people are living with the same thing that I do. And
but not everyone wants to speak out about it. A lot of times people are a little bit shy. You know, I live with pre-diabetes myself, and it's also something that people say, oh, you shouldn't share that, it's a little bit personal. You sure you really want to let people know that you're dealing with something? What would you say to the people who don't want to really use their voice, and how would you encourage them to open up a little bit more? Because you can help a lot of people along the way, right?
I think that the more you speak out, the more people feel safer. For me, on my way here, I thought that even if this reaches one type 1 diabetic or one newly diagnosed person, that would be worth my while. And for that, I am grateful for.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's been a journey. It's also a very expensive journey. It's a lot. Anyone you want to say a specific thank you to throughout all of this?
My parents, definitely. They stuck with me through every hospital admittance, through my diagnosis. So to them, I would really like to say thank you for always sticking through. They were at my side, literally, on the hospital bed. They were there. So I would like to say thank you to my parents. And of course, to my friends who support me through it.
Yeah. Take me through a day in your life.
Well, during school, I would wake up. I would take my insulin, shower, get ready for school. I would have a pre-bolus injection in a thermos to go to school. So at lunchtimes, I would inject. And then when I get home for dinner time, I would have my other injection.
Wow. And then you have to, so you're still going to school. Yes. So when you have to go to school with this shot, I mean, is it something that you're nervous about doing in public, or how does that go for you? And you're around your friends, right? Yes. And they understand by now. Oh, it's Chris's time for his shot.
I mean, as a lot of people are, they were afraid of needles, and they still are afraid of needles. So the first time I showed them, I was like, could you just hold my hand? I just want to inject. And they were like, what? And I said, just hold it right here. Yeah. And I injected it, and they were like, they could never. Out. Yeah, no. Last week I had a presentation on diabetes for my biology class as well. And I asked the question, if you had to live with this and do the same things that I do on a regular basis, would you be able to do it? And nobody was able to say yes.
And then you're also juggling, again, life as a student, also being a young person, trying to enjoy the best of life. How's that for you, juggling everything? Does it feel overwhelming sometimes?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I think I'm doing a really great job so
I think
far.
so too.
School is good. As I said, I'm launching my own brand. That is going good as well. And personal time, I think is going good too. I still leave time to enjoy myself.
So you're an advocate, and in the age of digital media, you do use social media a lot to promote awareness or your advocacy?
Not as much as I should, but
okay.
I have used it before, and I do have a large enough following on social media to advocate. So I think that going forward, it is something that I definitely want to continue.
100%. It makes you very relatable, and you have that personality where you can speak to people and they can really understand it. You have a very calming presence as well throughout all of this, because living with type 1 diabetes can definitely be a struggle.
It is.
Before we wrap up, what are your hopes for the future of diabetes awareness in Trinidad and Tobago? I know we're about to have you working with the organization and you'll have great ideas and be involved in everything, but what do you hope to see?
I think we need more support systems in Trinidad and Tobago and more platforms for persons to speak out. We do have the association, but I think that with government intervention as well, we can have so much more support systems. We can have platforms for persons to speak about and feel comfortable managing their conditions. And in my personal experience, I think we need education and that kind of support in schools as well, because when a student is high or low, as myself, teachers don't necessarily know how to respond. They would just be like, okay, you could go to the cafeteria, get something sweet. So it's like,
Yeah, there's so much good work coming out of the Diabetes Association, and you know, we look forward to you being involved in that. Also, thanks to the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health, they are also very instrumental in a lot of the projects coming out of the Diabetes Association of Trinidad and Tobago. And lots coming up, so we look forward to you being a part of that. There's the school quiz coming up. There's a debate. There's always something happening, and I'm so glad that we are having this conversation about diabetes and the awareness in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Chris, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
Thank you for reaching out and expressing interest in being here with us. And I know you touched a lot of people this morning and encouraged a lot of people. What's your social media when you start, increasing your posting?
My Instagram handle is Cristiano Mejia. It's just my entire name. No spaces, anything. Just my name.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us on Trinidad and Tobago today. 7:32. That is the time. Hope you've been having a great day. It's a nice short week in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the many blessings of living in such a beautiful multicultural society. Such a beautiful melting pot. When we come back, the show continues.
Struggling with heart health or frequent migraines? Discover the simple steps to reclaim your energy and vitality.
We're diving into a topic that affects about 422 million people around the world: diabetes.
Tune into Wellness Unlocked, the series that delivers expert advice, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you take control of your health and well-being. Your health matters. Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on TTT and take the first step toward better health.
And I think a lot of people, they overthink this sometimes when it comes to time for each other. And they kind of put too much pressure on themselves about it. What do you think? No?
Yes, I think that's the case.
It's not, you can start small.
It's not that deep. It's not that complicated.
You can start small. It doesn't have to be always a big extravagant date somewhere or flying to some exotic country or something like that, right? It could be the smallest of things. It could be just watching a sitcom for half an hour, one day a week, right? Just the two of you, right? Or grabbing dinner, or being intentional about sitting down and eating dinner together and just having conversation. right? And not just being so busy with life that you're not even checking in. You're not even checking to see how that person is doing or feeling. The Marriage Confessional, only on TTT.
In a world filled with uncertainty, there is still hope. When the weight feels heavy and the night feels long, remember, your story isn't over. God's promises are still true, His love is still strong, and your breakthrough is still coming. Join us for Messages of Hope, Words of Encouragement with Pastor Jesse, presented by Youth Fires. Hope lives here, only on TTT.
Ever wondered what happens before the lights come on? Before the crowd pours in? Before the magic hits the stage? This is your all-access pass. Sneak Peek with Junior K takes you behind the scenes of the biggest cultural moments and the hottest events across TNT. From the sound checks to the stage setups, from final rehearsals to exclusive interviews. If it's about to be big, we're already there. Catch Sneak Peek airing daily on TTT and relive every moment on all our social media platforms. Sneak Peek with Junior K, where the story starts before the spotlight.
For all the stories that you see here and more, you know the drill. Follow us at TTT Live Online. You can also email us, reach out to us at ttt.co.tt. If you have an idea that you want to see featured on the show, we are always happy to hear from you. Well, at the 98th Academy Awards, one battle after another took home the top prize for Best Picture, marking a big night for director Paul Thomas Anderson. The film also won Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Director, rounding out a major sweep. Ryan Coogler's Sinners also made history, earning wins for cinematography, Best Actor for Michael B. Jordan, and Best Original Screenplay, a standout showing for the film. While the ceremony featured several memorable moments, host Conan O'Brien, along with winning documentarians and the presenter, used the stage to deliver pointed political remarks. A Moving in Memoriam segment honored industry legends, including Rob Reiner and other stars who lost this year. Now, among the other big winners, Jessie Buckley completed her award season sweep, winning Best Actress for Hamnet. Meanwhile, Sean Penn did not attend to accept his supporting actor trophy, his third career Oscar. It was really a night filled with history, emotion, and unforgettable moments at Hollywood's biggest event. Well, just a few days to go before Eid. It's also going to be a long weekend in Trinidad and Tobago. What do you have planned? If you won't be celebrating Eid al-Fitr this year, what are your plans? Maybe camping? Did you know there's something called glamping as well? Maybe something I might be interested in. Also, Carrie's Right Here feature you can see throughout the day on TTT might give you an idea of where you want to go this weekend. Well, when we come back, we continue the show on Trinidad and Tobago Today. The time now, a time check for you, 7:38 a.m.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون.
This powerful verse from the Holy Quran invites us to embrace reflection, self-discipline, and spiritual renewal. Join us daily on TTT Limited for special Ramadan features, inspiring messages, heartfelt moments of devotion, and reflections that uplift our nation.
Child abuse is one secret you should never keep.
Well, this weekend, one of the most historic sporting events in Trinidad and Tobago is set to return to the spotlight, the Southern Games. Well, this is often described as the Olympics of the Caribbean, and this event has been a major part of our sporting culture since 1938, I believe, showcasing some of the region's best talent in track and field and cycling. Well, over the years, it has served as a platform for young athletes to shine, and it's also where many of our national sporting heroes first made their mark. But after hiatus during the pandemic, the Games returned in 2024, and although last year's edition had to be cancelled, organizers are now gearing up, preparing for the 2026 Southern Games, which promises to be a full weekend of athletics, cycling, and community excitement at Skinner Park in San Fernando. And joining me this morning on TNT Today to talk all about the return of this iconic event are Southern Games Committee Chairman Anthony Comisiong and former national quarter miler Alvin Daniel, who proudly represented TNT on the international stage and was part of the national 4x400 meter relay team that set a record at the 1992 Olympic Games. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here this morning. And it was a long drive, I believe. There was some traffic.
Plenty traffic, man.
Yeah, well, you are here, and that's all that matters. Well, Southern Games have had such a long history in Trinidad and Tobago. How does it feel to finally see those games returning this year, 2026?
It's great. You know, this event was one of the biggest after Carnival.
Yeah.
Southern Games was a culture event. It was like a carnival. People from all over the country used to come to Southern Games.
Yeah.
You know, it was such a marvelous event that tickets, a week before the games, all the tickets sell out.
Yeah, well, tell us what exactly is the Southern Games?
Well, Southern Games is really something, apart from being track and cycle events, it's really something to bring family together. Because it was the only place you would see parents with the kids and thing, and you know, the move with the bag, the lunches and everything, you know, and come and enjoy a full day of sports.
Yeah, as I said before, this is called sometimes the Olympics of the Caribbean. How did it get that name?
I guess too, you remember if you check back the past and stuff, plenty of the athletes from the Caribbean went on to be Olympic champions and all these things. So I think you have the ideal name there, Olympics of the Caribbean, because plenty of athletes have gone on to bigger things, from Usain Bolt to all the top athletes.
Exactly. So it's a good start, and that's my next question.
Yeah.
So youth development is a great part of the games.
yes.
Why is it so important to give the young athletes a chance?
They are coming.
Yeah.
We at our games, we have 16 BMX events for BMX cycling. And athletics, we have about 8 athletes, for young athletes, we have events. So we have to see about youths, they are coming.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so proud that our cycle team did so well at the Pan Am Games, Pan Am Championships, right? And I had to congratulate the cycling profession for that. But it came through BMX. BMX is the BMX program in cycling, right? Right, is what helped to raise the cycling.
Yeah, so this event is happening this weekend.
This
Give us the
weekend.
details of that. What exactly can we expect?
Well, on Saturday, we're having some heats. We'll be running off some heats on Saturday. That'll be the 21st. And on Sunday would be all the finals in all the cycle events, and all the track and field events would be on Sunday.
Yeah, and how can people attend?
Well, you could get your ticket. Your tickets at Ateliers by the park, and Awadi Hardware in Marbella. You can get tickets, and you can at gate. You can once you come early, you can get tickets.
Yeah. Any surprises in store? Anything that we should
We have a lot of prizes when you come in. A lot of prizes we have to give. We're giving away when people come in. We have your numbers. You hold your ticket, and we call your number, and we have a lot of prizes to give out.
I believe what we're seeing now is some old footage.
Oh yes, he's Crawford. He took part in certain games. He was part of certain games.
Yeah. So it really does provide
And
a good starting
you
point.
see what's going beating Momero. You see Momero on the outside, and that is Junior Farrell and Ron Cardle from Italy, and our own Junior Farrell. And that is Lloyd John beating the American champion there. At that event, he equaled Roger Gibbon record. Leslie King.
Well, Alvin, you also had a great part to play, and you grew up in the sport, and you were a champion in your own right. Tell me about that evolution.
Well, if you check the past history, I mean, leading up into Southern Games, it was all the predecessors companies before, like Paloseco and Petrotrin and Trinidad, all these things combined, and they had Southern Games. Southern Games was like a part of the company itself. So it was something that not only the employees used to look to, but the actual people from outside used to get a chance to meet all the big directors and managers and all these people. They used to be close up.
Yeah.
But you say had a chance to, a one-on-one to talk with them and that kind of thing. Sometimes people manage companies, but you don't get a chance to see them unless it's on the television or on the papers. But actually, they were also part as officials and thing in the game.
Yeah.
So you could have walked across and talked to the managing director or some big person in the company, divisional manager, and all these people, and they were right there. And it was a nice grooming process to see that one day we could be or we could reach where these people, because they were right there cheering us on and actually up front with us.
And that was instrumental in your growth and evolution as an athlete as well. And now you're part of this. So on a closing note, just tell us about the event again this weekend.
Again, the event is held under the patronage of the mayor of San Fernando, Mr. Robert Paris, right? And the main thing again is that we having an award, 2 awards. We're giving the awards to Leslie Rollins, a former national cyclist, Olympian, who has rode the rules in cycling at Southern Games, Palaseco Games, all the games. He was a great champion, and of course, we'll be paying tribute to Alvin Daniel.
Yeah, congratulations.
And one thing I must say, with all the sponsors, I want to thank Barrier Fuel Trade Company. That's our gold sponsors. We have the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs, National Flour Mills, TechU, Mr. Ken London of Ventures Credit Union. With all these, I want to thank these sponsors for coming in, because our youth are our future, so we must keep it going. We need the sponsors. So I want to thank them, and we have a few other sponsors thinking about it, but I hope that they can hear my voice. We need to do things for the youths. We say it have crime, we say it have killing, and we quarreling, but we got to keep the youths. In times gone by, every holiday, every area used to have all the sports, keeping the children occupied. We do have that again.
Yeah.
So we need to have these sport meetings.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to Southern Games this coming weekend. Congrats again to you, Alvin, and enjoy everything that the games have to offer.
Thank you very much.
We move on Trinidad and Tobago today, just about 10 minutes before the top of the hour. When we come back, we talk about dance sport in Trinidad and Tobago.
Greetings, hello to you there, and welcome to the CATT National Secondary Schools Climate Quiz. I'm your host, Sachin Ramsubag, and I am pleased to be part of this great initiative.
I'm Renee Sion with another edition of Caribbean Week in Review.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exeter Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's Caribbean Passport TV on TTT.
Health and wellness, the core of our existence on planet Earth. Let us hear the voices of our very own citizens, our local and regional medical community, scientists and climatologists. Caribbean Medical TV is geared to developing a consciousness in our people in terms of our health and lifestyle. Knowledge is a very powerful tool, and we must empower ourselves with the information to protect against chronic and other related diseases. From the impact of climate change on our health to NCDs, Season 3 of Caribbean Medical TV tackles the challenges we all face, giving our citizens hope for a better tomorrow. Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV.
Often seen as an art form, but in the world of dance sport, it's also a competitive discipline that demands the same training, focus, and athletics as any other sport. Well, our next guests are here helping to develop that sport in Trinidad and Tobago through the EVP Dance Academy. 14 dancers are now preparing to represent the country at an upcoming 3-day international dance festival in Argentina. Well, joining us this morning are dance sport coach and EVP National Director Jay Delano Manganu, along with dance sport judge Terry-Ann Seals, to tell us more about this initiative and the training camp preparing these dancers for the international stage. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here with us. And this is amazing, dance sport. You know, a lot of people probably haven't heard this before. So can you tell us what exactly is dance sport?
Well, dance sport, basically in a nutshell, is any dance that involves competitive dancing on a high level. And it involves you to become an athlete, involving exercises, conditioning, strength training, as well as artistry, and a mixture of all of it. Specifically to smooth and Latin dances, which are like your waltz and foxtrot, bachata,
Right,
salsa.
so it's different from social dancing.
Yes.
Interesting. How long have you been doing this?
I have been involved in dance sport since the age of 13.
Mhm.
I won my first competition at age 13 in dance sport. And from there now, I have decided to promote dance sport.
Yeah, and what kind of physical training does this dance sport need?
You go to the gym. Running is very important. Calisthenics, Pilates, and lots of spine work like Martha Graham and Lester Houghton techniques, because as you dance more, you become more flexible, there's more mobility, and you live longer.
Yeah. So Tarian, tell us, how exactly would you judge dance sport in a competition?
I'm sorry. Two things stand out, if you want to put it in a nutshell. We have presentation and poise. It is, this differs from, let's say, another sports like cricket, football, where you have certain rules and most persons know and understand what is happening. It's similar with dance sport in that you look for technique, proper technique, posture to start, presentation and maintenance of that posture through poise throughout the dances. So those are the things you look for. And you also look for personality. That is the P I forgot.
Yeah.
Personality has to shine through, and that is what makes it different from other sports. You don't really have to go on a stage and smile when you're playing, when you're doing traditional sports.
Right.
But for dance, you are being asked to add that element, and that is what makes dance sports so interesting.
Yeah. And why do you believe that dance sport is important for youth development in Trinidad and Tobago?
Dance is usually seen as just a fun thing. A thing you do as a hobbyist, you know, you want to blow off steam, you want to get over heartbreak, something. But dance is so much more than that. And adding the element of sport creates a level of discipline you wouldn't find with someone who holds it as a hobby or just for social purposes. It adds that challenge of growth, because you have to change physically, you have to change the way you think, the way you eat, the way you move every day. You have to incorporate movement, intentional movement to your schedule.
Yes.
You get up, you have to stretch. Before you go to bed, you have to stretch. So it challenges you. It's not just dance.
Well, Jay, the preparations for this International Dance Festival, so 14 dancers are currently preparing. So what's that preparation like right now?
Well, at the moment, we are working with several coaches because they possess different skill sets. And we want them to work with several coaches so that they can gain some more experiences. They are also practicing, for now, 3 hours for the week, because they all have jobs and responsibilities, but we're also trying to teach them the discipline behind it. And one of the amazing things about this journey is dance sport is a divergent thinking idea, which is mixing two things, creativity and sport.
Yeah.
And so that's amazing. So they have a lot of understanding of what emotional intelligence is, and characterization and dramatization, and the physical and the psychological balance that is needed to become a sports person in dance.
Well, before we go, what would you say to any dancers interested in picking up dance sport, or actually, you know, getting involved in it, and how can they do that?
Well, competition and challenge is always a part of human life and living, and challenging the brain and challenging the body makes you only better. So I would tell persons to accept a challenge in dance sport. And the great thing about dance sport is that they are different levels and different age brackets. So you could be 60 and enter a dance sport championship and still benefit from it and live that dream, and you can be 6 and still do the same.
Well, it's never too late to begin dancing. Dancing is a beautiful part of life. Well, that's how we wrap it up today. Thank you so much, Jay and Tarian, for joining us. Dance sport in Trinidad and Tobago. Check it out. It's actually really interesting. It's something many of us haven't heard about, and we probably should. We're just about a minute before the top of the hour. Thank you to all our guests joining us today. As we spoke about the wrap-up of Ramadan, we're coming to the end of that, getting ready for Eid 2026. We also spoke with Lawrence Arjun, a member of the Judith Jones investigation team. We also had a tribute to Edison Carr with Francesca Hawkins, the former MAT president. Also, we were joined by Chris as we spoke about type 1 diabetes and awareness in Trinidad and Tobago. What a packed show. What a great way to start your week. Remember, the truth starts here, your morning starts here, and now your week starts in Trinidad and Tobago today. We'll see you tomorrow. We do this all over again from 6 to 8 a.m. on Trinidad and Tobago Today. Bye.
Good morning, this is your TTT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. Making the news at this time. The Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force, TTDF, is expressing condolences following the fatal shooting of one of its soldiers. In a statement, the TTDF said the loss of a member of the national security community is deeply felt across the organization and extended sympathies to the family, friends, and colleagues of the deceased. 30-year-old Janani Garcia Williams, a private with the Trinidad and Tobago Regiment, was ambushed outside a mini-mart on La Clave Street while entering his SUV. Assailants in another vehicle reportedly fired several shots before speeding away. Williams sustained multiple gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. A firearm was later found in his waistband. The TTDF says it is maintaining close coordination with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, which has primary responsibility for the investigation, and is prepared to assist authorities as needed. The Defense Force is also urging members of the public to allow the investigative process to proceed without speculation. In other news, calls for the resignation of the board of the Children's Authority have raised new questions about governance and oversight within the agency responsible for protecting vulnerable children. The issue surfaced after the Minister of Social Development and Family Services publicly urged the board to step down, citing serious concerns about financial management and operational challenges. The minister's statement comes amid reports of liabilities exceeding $77 million and broader concerns about the management of the Children's Authority. The developments have also renewed attention on findings from an independent investigation into safeguarding conditions within children's homes, community residences, and children's support centers in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the members of that investigation team, Chief Executive Officer of the Heroes Foundation, Lawrence Arjun, says the authority plays a critical role but faces significant structural challenges.
The Children's Authority is definitely one of the most critical and important state entities that we have today. But as the report says, as many people have said over the years, it faces significant challenges, such as, it's carrying too much functions, it has resource, it has staffing constraints. So that being said, I really was surprised that the minister raised such a matter in the public, because it says that there is, or there has been, some sort of breakdown in the reporting and the engagement mechanisms within the authority, the board, and the ministry.
Mr. Arjun notes that under the law, the authority operates within a defined reporting structure where staff report to the board reports to the minister, and the minister reports to the parliament. But he says the current public exchange raises concerns about how those internal mechanisms are functioning. He adds that the board itself carries significant responsibilities that go beyond traditional governance roles.
But on the operational side, it also has a lot of responsibilities when it comes to the work, such as, decisions related to the care and the placement of children, things like care plans, treatment plans, rehabilitation planning, approval of the placement of children, whether they're in community residences or in foster care. So it's a lot of responsibilities that is being placed on the board, which creates some challenges.
Mr. Arjun says while questions remain about the future of the board, the priority must remain the care and protection of the children served by the authority, as the country watches closely to see how the situation unfolds. In other news, a coordinated state of emergency raid in Sangre Grande has led to the seizure of a large quantity of cannabis and the arrest of 2 suspects. Police say the operation took place on Sunday at a residence along Ojo Road, where officers executed a search warrant. During the search, authorities discovered approximately 25.5 kilograms of cannabis with an estimated street value of about $750,000. 2 people who were at the home at the time were arrested on suspicion of possession of cannabis for the purpose of trafficking. They were taken to the Sangre Grande police station, where they are expected to be formally charged. Officers from the Eastern Division Task Force, the National Operations Task Force, and the K-9 unit also participated in the operation. In more news, the Tobago House of Assembly is moving to formalize the way sporting bodies receive funding for activities. At a media conference on Sunday, the Secretary for Youth Empowerment and Sport, Keegan Denoon, said this process will begin almost immediately and is calling on sporting bodies to get their houses in order.
We are implementing strict guidelines as to how you can access governmental funding. Organizations would now have to be registered, have their NGO certificate. They would also have to have audited financials, and they would also have to bring the receipts to show that the monies were utilized for the purpose for which they were applied.
Sporting organizations are being asked to apply at least 3 months in advance of their activity in order to be guaranteed funding, consideration, and approval. And that was your TDT News Update. I'm Carrie Roberts. From the entire team here, have a great day.
This is TTT. Live for local.